Are you a chiropractor with a struggling practice, having a hard time finding and keeping patients? Is your staff falling short of expectations? I'm Dr. Scott Sawyer, and DC Trainings has the answers that you need. So tune in now and find out how. Hello, everybody. Welcome to DC Trainings. I'm Dr. Scott Sawyer. Happy holidays to you and an upcoming very happy new year. We're wrapping up 2023. This is a big time to reflect on the past year, look back at our accomplishments, our goals, everything that happened, and it's a good time to plan for the upcoming year and what we're going to do and accomplish in 2024. And I just think that I don't remember writing 2023 enough times this year, meaning that this year seems to have just flown by, and now I have to get ready to start writing 2024. But that's okay because time flies when you're having fun. And in DC Trainings, we have our successful practices. We have our wonderful patients that we take care of, which allows us to have continuous fun, just keeping everyone happy and healthy through the holidays. So like you, I'm in full-time practice, and that certainly keeps everything exciting and fun. So today we're getting into the second half, or we are in the second half of Module 6, and we're going to talk about the topic of internet marketing, which I'll get to in a moment. But I had shared this book with you, I think a week or two ago. I want to share it with you again. It's a great little book. It's very thin, quick read. It's called OKR, Master the Performance Framework that Google Perfected. I want to give a shout out to Dr. John Kanich, who turned me on to a book called Measure What Matters. And through that book, I found this book. So John, thank you for connecting me in this direction. This is a book that I will actually have for you as a thank you at our upcoming seminar. So don't buy yourself a copy yet. I'll have a copy for you at the seminar. And in this book, one of the things that it really talks about is how to direct your team, to how to set up a team that can really pull their weight, who can drive your practice to new levels, how to organize the team without being a micromanager, and to direct them through structured goal setting, which is very powerful, especially in some of the, as we build our practices and we want more freedom from having to, run all the day-to-day functions of a practice, right? That's why we bring in a team. This book will help to streamline that for you in many ways. So I look forward to sharing that with all of you at the upcoming seminar. So let's jump right in, though, because I want to, on the note of the upcoming seminar, it's right around the corner. We are now in week 7 of Module 6, which is goals and marketing. Week 7 is internet marketing, and that's our topic for today. But on that note, I want to just show you on the screen, you can see where our next seminar is team development. And that will be a live seminar for those of you who are jumping in remotely. We will also have it streaming live, so you can log in remotely. You can join the seminar, of course, for whenever it's possible. I like to get together as a chiropractic group. BJ Palmer, way back in the day, had the Lyceum, where the Lyceum was a gathering of all the chiropractors, and he started that many years ago. So in the same spirit of that camaraderie, of that professionalism, of that coming together with a common purpose, we will be getting together for this live seminar on the 13th of January, which is just a couple weeks away. It'll be on Saturday. It'll be hosted at my office in Santa Cruz. I had a last minute request of somebody saying, why don't you host it by the airport in San Jose? So I am looking into that. If it comes to it, I'll let you know. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing all of you in Santa Cruz on the 13th for that seminar. Okay, so let's jump right into, internet marketing and how this really ties in with your practice, right? This is such an important aspect these days. Case in point, how many still have a phone book at home? Remember those old days when we had a paper phone book? That's gone by the wayside, right? We don't have a paper phone book anymore. So many of us use our smartphones for all our day-to-day functions. So as it says on the screen, there's really endless possibilities in terms of advertising and marketing and bringing in new patients through the internet. So today we're going to talk about some of those avenues, and this will set up the framework for how you can bring in many, many new patients through your internet marketing and the presence that you have through the internet. Let me just back up. I want to share a quick story with you, in part because I see Dr. Kinich on our call today, but he remembers this story, and that is that my dad, and actually my son now, in the same aspect, he's dating somebody. So my dad has his significant other, his partner he met through the internet. So maybe I'll shift over to the story with my son, because he's dating a nice young girl who's a college student, and he met her through his internet connections. I don't know if it was on Facebook or through Instagram or Snapchat. One of those platforms is how they first met. And I think it just started with seeing a picture of each other on that platform, which, if you think back to the good old days, I don't know about the good old days. I'm dating myself here, but the old days when, like when I met my wife, it was in a classroom, because it was when we started college. That's when we met. And I looked across the room, and there was this very attractive young woman that I thought, I want to meet her, right? So in the digital age, we come across these pictures or these profiles or these comments, and we're connecting to people, excuse me, through those platforms, and we're finding people that we are in some way attracted to. Now, in the case of your practice, it's no different, in the sense that your patients have platforms that your future patients, your potential patients, have platforms and environments that they frequently connect through or connect with. And in those environments, if they come across a picture of you or something that you posted or some information that you have shared, then they may see that in a way and say, oh, I'm attracted to that. That's great. And I want to pursue that. And since so many people these days have these digital connections, you want to have a presence there. In the past, we didn't have that. And you would go to a bar or no, I'm kidding, but to, some party or concert or event or a neighbor gathering or school. And that's where you would meet people and you would build these connections. And so nowadays, with this digital environment that we have, there's a lot of trust and attraction for people to pursue those avenues in terms of making more connections. And those connections are where we want to live, so that when they do come across them or they are attracted to that, they see us and say, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so that sort of frames this environment that we want to be in. So we want to go through the different environments that you want to have a presence in, so that you're attracting new patients through those environments on a continuous basis. So let's go back to our screen here. So the first one is local marketing and the patient demographics questions, which I'm going to show you those in a few minutes. So hold that thought as far as a visual. Sorry. But just to once again keep on the thread of this example I'm using, we want to make sure that we know, where do our patients go? Where do they frequent? Who do they hang out with? Who do they connect with? And it's not so much our patients in general. More specifically, it's the patients that you enjoy the most. Now, let me just emphasize this, because the patients that you enjoy taking care of the most, and for whatever those reasons are, it might be that they come in with their family. Maybe they referred in a lot of other patients or some other great patients, or maybe they have great insurance, or maybe they are always on time to their appointments. Those kinds of qualities that we enjoy with a great patient, right? Maybe they have just incredible results, like a miraculous change. So whatever those qualities are that you recognize in your ideal patient, those patients are the ones that we're going to use for our local marketing. And so let me go back to my screen, because in this marketing, we want to target those areas. And we're going to use our patient demographic questions to establish where those areas are and who it is that our patients are spending time with. The phrase that I'll use when we get to that is, where do you and your like-minded friends like to blank, like to go, like to eat, like to hang out? What hobbies do you like? Where do you and your like-minded friends ... So you may want to write that down And we're going to come back to that in a minute. So that's the first one, is your local marketing. You want to stimulate referrals. Dr. Tetrault, you had a great question the other day about spinal screening marketing and getting that word of mouth out through your patients to people that they know, and people that you could potentially do a spinal screening with to attract them to your patient or to your practice. Well, this is similar to that, right? We want to know how we can talk to our patients to find out, where do they go? What do they do? And how can we connect with more people who are like those patients that we feel are our best patients? And that's our connection, right? So let's keep going. Number two, with our endless possibilities, is through social media. Now, and this is kind of fun to share. Many of you actually know this story because I've shared it in seminars, but I grew up in the mountains. I literally grew up in a house with no electricity. It was on a farm. I milked the goats, I fed the chickens, and I rode a pony to school every day, all the way through sixth grade. Very unusual upbringing, I realize it. But when it comes to this digital and internet marketing environment, I am not someone who's very talented. I'm not very inclined to, pick up my phone and spend time looking at my phone or on the website, on the web for social media places. But that's okay, because I recognize that I have different focuses that I am attracted to. But your patients, and especially your favorite patients, if they are someone who's attracted to social media, then we need to know that, don't we? We need to know that in a way that we can say, hey, let's put our information out there because our best patients are utilizing that resource and we want to have a presence there. So on the screen, you can see that there's some specific things that you want to put together when it comes to having a really dynamic social media campaign. The first one is having fresh content. And there's companies that you can hire, you can outsource this. In fact, our patients do get fresh content from me all the time that I have not even followed. I mean, it's done through our social media marketing company that we outsource that out to, which you can do as well. So you want to have fresh content. You want to have email offers, and that's important to keep people engaged. That's another term that we want to keep in our repertoire, is keeping our patients engaged, right? We want to be engaged with our best patients. We want to know where they go and what they do and who they hang out with. But we also want to keep them engaged with us so that we are what's called top of mind, right? So how do we do that? Well, through social media, we want to have fresh content all the time. So posting weekly or daily. We want to have email offers. We just did a great Christmas holiday blast. It's an email blast that went out to all of our current active patients. And let me just define that for you real quickly, because a current active patient means somebody who is currently coming in. They have future appointments and they're currently coming in as a patient, or somebody who has been inactive, meaning they haven't been coming in for 2 years or less. Okay, now that could depend on the size of your practice. I have a pretty large practice, so if I'm sending out email blasts to all of our former patients, we're talking thousands and thousands of patients, as opposed to if I just focus on the last, I'm sorry, I said 2 years, but it's the last 3 years. So the last 3 years of patients is who our target market is as far as our email offers, right? It's just anybody who's had an appointment in the last 3 years, they get our emails on a regular basis. And that way we stay in touch. We stay, as I said, the term top of mind, and we keep our patients engaged. That's how we do that. So email offers are important. The next one is reviews. Invite your patients to write reviews and submit those through either Google or Facebook or Yelp. One of those platforms is a great way to stay connected with your patients, and there's avenues that we can use to do that. And then the last is your website. Last but not least, I should say, because your website is really, these days, it's sort of your front door, or even more. I'll take it a step further. In the past, before the internet was so prevalent, your phone was basically your front door, right? If your telephone wasn't ringing, or if your phone line got disconnected, you basically were closing your office and people can't reach you, especially new patients, right? So nowadays, your website is basically your front door. That's where people come to meet you. They come first to check you out. If they're curious about anything in your practice, that's where they're going to go first. So I want to just emphasize this because first and foremost, you want to make sure that you have a professional, appealing website, and it should be updated regularly, right? Things get outdated, things become stale, content looks out of date. You want to make sure that your website is updated. We actually just finished a major revamp of our website in the last 6 months, and that was actually after just 2 years. So every year or two, look at your website. Does it need to be updated? Does it need to be revamped? Does it need anything on the back end to be updated to make it function correctly? Right. And one of the other parts of internet marketing is what's called SEO. And many of you know that term, but if you are not familiar with it, it stands for search engine optimization, meaning that if I go to the internet and I just type in Google search or Internet Explorer search or whatever, if I type in chiropractor in my town, who comes up, right? Well, chiropractor in Santa Cruz, which is where I'm from, that has a whole bunch of algorithms that kick into play to search out who has a website with those keywords in it and how is that ranked in terms of who shows up first and who shows up last and so on. So we want to make sure that we have these dynamics in place when it comes to our internet marketing. And as I said, last but not least is, of course, your website, which these days is basically like your front door. For a new patient, that is your front door. It could even be more of a front door than your telephone. A lot of people will find you through the internet before they even make a phone call, right? So really important to have those in place. Let's go to this next picture here. So these are just some pictures I want to point out because we all have patients who are what are called influencers, meaning that within their own social circles, they have such a large presence that they influence the decisions of their followers, of the people that follow them. So those are called influencers. And we all have patients who are influencers in their own way. I'll tell you a little story. This just happened last week, but I have a patient she came in as a new patient. And actually, Dr. Knitsch, you'll love this because she's a vet. She's a veterinarian, and she has a large veterinarian practice. She hires other veterinarians, and they see a lot of people's pets. It's a great clinic. And so she came in as a new patient, and I started taking care of her. And then I was asking her about what she does at work, and she told me some details about that. But what came from that story was she is a major influencer when it comes to people who live or follow the pet care circles, right? So people that are involved in Facebook pages about their pets, about their cats, about their dogs, about their horses. She has a huge presence in those circles of people that really like to follow the animal care, the pet care, the farms, all of that stuff. And she has a huge presence there. So for her to post, say, a story about her great results that she had with her chiropractor and then post that on her veterinary circles, there's a lot of people that are going to see that post and they're going to realize, oh, here's somebody that I respect, I admire. She knows about animals. She feels the way I do about animals. She knows how to take care of animals. She's got a very successful clinic where she sees lots of animals. Oh, and by the way, she's bragging about Dr. Knitsch, her chiropractor, who helped her achieve these amazing results for his patients, much like she does with the animals, right? So there's this whole connection that can come from that and can build from that. And I'm going to show you how to make that connection as we go, but I wanted to set the stage. As you can see with this picture, some of the social influence, or the influencers that I've taken care of. On the picture, you can see this is Steph Curry with the Warriors basketball team. I was their chiropractor, the team's chiropractor for 8 years. I had a sign up in the stadium, and it was a great time. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I really didn't know much about how to play basketball because, again, I grew up on a farm riding a pony to school. But that didn't matter because I did know how to adjust the players, and that's what they wanted me for anyways. So just a little funny story about that. Anyways, so social acceptance with influencers. So find out who in your patient base are influencers and find out what area or what genre they are influencers in, okay? Here's another one. This is Del Bigtree, who is the producer of The High Wire, which I had the opportunity to have dinner with him a few times. And so working with him, he was able to get us some great exposure to our patient base for people that follow the High Wire, which they have, millions of listeners and watchers worldwide. So he's another influencer. Then there's Bobby Kennedy Jr. He's another influencer. So when you can connect with these types of people that come into your office or you're connected with through the chiropractic care, be sure to incorporate their help with you in terms of reaching out to more people through your internet marketing. I think I have another one here. This is I'm in Santa Cruz, which is a little surf community, but this is Santiago Hart, who is an upcoming professional surfer. So we have his poster up on the wall. He signed it for me. You can see that on the screen there. And at the same time, he posts stuff for us. And it's funny again, because I don't even use Instagram, but he has a huge Instagram following. And so for him to post something on Instagram with his picture saying, "Hey, I just got a great adjustment from my chiropractor," that goes a long ways. So I want to back up for just a minute because I talked about referral marketing earlier in this module, and these pieces all start to come together, right? You have a patient that comes in and tells you about great results. So you create a testimonial. That was in our section called testimonial marketing. You have this great testimonial that you then frame and put on the wall as a picture. And it's much better than just a generic, chiropractic poster that you bought at a seminar. Or, I mean, obviously there's beautiful pictures to put up on your walls, but this has much more relevance when it's actually a patient of yours talking about you. And then there's a picture of them doing something amazing right on your wall for other patients to see when they walk in. So there's the referral marketing aspect of it and the testimonial marketing aspect that I've taught you. And now we tie that in with the internet marketing aspect, where you take those pictures and those influencers and you build that into a huge audience of their followers. And they all start to really trust you and follow your information and realize, I want to go see that chiropractor. I want to go see Steph Curry's chiropractor. I want to go see Santi Hart's chiropractor. That's where they start to build that following. So let's jump back over here. This is really fun stuff. This was I know I say it probably too often, but this is one of those great topics in DC trainings because it starts to come together in a way where people that walk into your office have such a preset level of value and respect for what you do, even before they've met you, right? They come in going, wow, this is amazing. So anyway, so it's just a lot of fun to put this into place. So this was a local magazine. Again, these are just examples. So maybe in your town, you have like a publication or a local magazine that somebody puts out for your community, right? That's specific to your community. In Santa Cruz, we have a magazine called Santa Cruz Waves, and people pay to advertise. These are local businesses that pay to advertise in that magazine. And then they write local articles they have local photographers, they have local journalists that write these articles in the magazine, and everybody loves it because when you open the magazine, you might see a picture of yourself. You might see a picture of a friend of yours. You'll see some landscapes that you're familiar with because it's in your town. So it's a great way to bring the community together through this publication. Look in your area and see if you have anything like that. And if you do, that would be a great place to put your money, which I did. I put an ad in that magazine. It's a full page ad, pretty simple, straightforward, had a picture of me, our contact information. We appreciate helping the Greater Santa Cruz community, if I could talk. And thank you all for supporting us. But at the same time, because I had that advertising component, the magazine also has a very well followed website. So they posted the picture that you're seeing on their website, and they reposted that over and over and over again. And we had lots and lots of new patients come in because they saw us in the magazine and then they saw the posts on the website. So just a lot of great ways to start tying this together as you build your internet marketing. Okay, so we have local marketing, social media campaign. We talked about that. We have content marketing. So I'm going to give you some parameters because you might be thinking, okay, well, now I know I need to post this stuff. I need to get this stuff out there. That's important. I'm motivated. I've got some patients that I think would be good fits for this. Now let's talk about your content. What is it that you're putting out there? What builds value and rapport with your community before the new patients have even tried to come see you? Well, content marketing has specific content in it that relates to what people are having challenges with or questions they have about why should I go see a chiropractor, right? I just saw Steph Curry has a chiropractor. Why? That's really great. And look what he accomplishes with his amazing basketball skills, right? Why should I see a chiropractor? So here's some topics that you can post through your testimonials. So let me just back up for a second, because if you're wondering, okay, I've got this great patient that had great results. She told me her headaches are gone, or she told me, or I love this one patient because he's always on time for his appointments. He never misses. He's like clockwork. So if you want to build more of those great qualities into your practice, why not recognize those patients who are bringing those or are following those qualities? It's kind of like if you have kids, you don't tell your kids, you did that wrong. That's terrible. Don't do that again. That's not right. What you do is you find the things that you want them to do more of, and you recognize those things. Hey, guess what I caught you doing right today? Look at how well you did that. Look at that wonderful thing that you just did, right? You're so smart. You knew that. That's really cool, right? So those are the ways that we want to compliment our patients. So I'm going to give you some topics, and these are the areas that you want to build your testimonials around. By the way, I want to say hello to Dr. Benson. Great to have you on the call today. Thanks for joining. It's good to see you. And yeah, I appreciate you coming on board. Okay, so anyway, so these are some topics that you can put into your testimonial marketing, and these are the areas that will catch the attention of your existing patients, which builds retention, and it'll catch the attention of new patients that come across you out there in the internet, right? So obviously a big one, number one, is amazing results, right? My headaches are gone. I can walk again. I don't need these pills anymore. I canceled my surgery. Just had that happen this week, by the way. Yesterday, a new patient came in. He's been getting adjusted, and he said, I canceled my knee surgery. I was scheduled for surgery. I came to see you. You adjusted my lower back, and my knee's fine. So he told me yesterday he canceled his surgery. Pretty amazing. I mean, that's something that has huge value. And yet with chiropractic, that happens every day when people have their nervous system functioning at a high level by their chiropractor correcting their subluxations and then allowing them to achieve an optimum state of health on an ongoing basis. The body heals itself. And so those amazing results are one area that you want to focus your testimonials, your content marketing, your internet marketing. How about efficient, fast service, right? These days, when somebody thinks about going to a doctor's office, especially in the whole COVID environment where people are waiting for days or months to get in to see their primary care doctor, right? Months. I had a patient tell me her appointment wasn't until, this was earlier in the year too, in the summertime, her appointment to see her primary care doctor wasn't until next year. So we're talking 4 or 5 months out for her to just get in for a checkup. Well, if you can see a new patient within a week, or a day or a few days, that's a huge asset for you. That's a huge unique quality that you want to showcase with your patients or your potential new patients. So fast, efficient service, great staff, right? I have CAs that have been with me for 15 years, and they're well trained. They know how to run the front desk. They know how to do consultations. They can do report of findings. They can work out financial arrangements. So they're well trained to really cater a top shelf service for all of our patients. So let's recognize our staff when we can, right? Build them into that great value that our patients get. Comfortable process. Many patients are afraid that their adjustments will hurt. And if they're a new patient and they're afraid that it's going to hurt, then that might keep them from calling you. But if you're advertising that the process of getting chiropractic care in your office is very comfortable, and that's coming through the words of an influencer or a respected person in the community, you don't even have to say that. They're speaking volumes about you, and that builds the trust that you want for patients to feel comfortable coming to see you. How about cost? Many of our patients are afraid of cost, right? A new patient potentially might call you, but they're like, well, my insurance has a high deductible. I don't know how long it's, I don't know if I can afford this. I'll wait till the symptoms are really bad before I go. But if they come across somebody in the community who's raving about your office and saying how affordable the care is, then they'll say, wow, if they're so affordable, maybe I don't have to wait. Maybe I don't have to put up with these symptoms anymore. Maybe I can afford to take care of this right now. And then they call. Now, I want to just share something on a sidebar, because for those of you who are seeing that, the end of the year is coming, and with the end of the year means that many of our patients have HSA accounts, that they want to utilize those funds before the end of the year. I've had many, many of our patients that have been coming in for years, whose employers provide and fund their health savings account, or HSA account. And in that account, there's employer funded or employer provided funds for that patient to spend on healthcare needs. So we have a large number of patients that every year in December, they come in and they write us a big check to prepay for the whole next year. And it's coming directly from their HSA account, which is employer funded. So this is a great time for you to let your patients know if they do have an HSA account. And it could be something as simple as just putting a flyer on your counter, which we did. Put a flyer on the counter and it says HSA, what is it? Oh, needs help, or needs about to end, right? HSA about to end, question mark. And then under it explains, if your employer has funded your HSA account and the end of the year is coming, you may need to utilize those funds, or else they'll vanish and you'll lose out. We put that on the counter. Patients were picking that up and saying, oh, I have an HSA account. Oh, wow, I hadn't even thought of that. I want to do that. And then they prepay for their care plan and they're set for the whole coming year. So right now, November and December, every year, put it on your calendar. This is the time to let your patients know that if they have an HSA account, this might be the time to utilize that for their chiropractic care. Okay, let's keep going. So that was content marketing. Then this last section here is the website, right? And I kind of went into that a moment ago, but I'll recap in the sense that you want to make sure that you have current, up-to-date content on your website. Make sure it's, it changes, it doesn't look stale, it's easy to navigate, it's easy to use, and there's two tracks of people that are coming to your website, right? There's the track of new patients who are just, we call them shoppers. So there's people just shopping and they come across your website because of some keywords that they search for. And then there's the patients who are just trying to get a hold of you. They might even be an active patient or they're a past patient and they want to get a hold of you, and they come across you and they type in your name specifically and they come to your website and they want to contact you. So for the shopper, we want to have things like work injuries, things about chiropractic. And if you scroll down, there's pictures of people that have common symptoms. And those are appealing to the eye for the shopper. BJ Palmer said, attract the eye to reach the mind. So for a shopper, you want to have those in place on your website. But if you're an existing patient, you don't want to have to scroll through a bunch of stuff. Or if you're coming back to the website to maybe reschedule an appointment or to just call the office, you don't want to have to go through a bunch of stuff to get to that which you need quickly. So there's important aspects of the front end of the website to help those two tracks of people. Then on the back end of the website, there's what are called keywords. And in my case, I pay Google a monthly fee that incorporates those keywords. They're called I think it's AdWords on Google. So you can pay to have those. Anytime somebody types in like the word chiropractic, you can pay Google to rank your website higher in the search engine so that they come across your website faster. And so part of that involves paying Google to have you rank higher when people are doing these random searches. And I think that's money well spent, because people don't know exactly what they're supposed to type in, and they might not type in, Dr. Marsh Chiropractic specifically. They might just type in a chiropractor in my town. And then, but of course, if Dr. Marsh wants to be the one that pops up, by the way, hello, Dr. Marsh, good to have you on the call. If he wants to be the one that pops up, then that that extra funds that he's paying to Google to have him rank higher in the search engine will be a big benefit for him. So in terms of the website, there's the front end, and then there's also the back end. How well does it function in that way? What keywords are tied to your site? I don't think I have it on here. No, we'll get to that in a second on the website. But this is, of course, another version of when people are searching. So, of course, if they search Sawyer Chiropractic, I'm going to pop up here, and I'm going to pop up over here. But if they just type in chiropractic, and I'm 3 pages deep in terms of that search, they're probably not going to get to me, right? So we want to make sure that we're working with our search engine companies, in this case, Google, to bring our name higher on that list. Okay, so that's another example there. And then email marketing is this last part. Sorry, I thought the last one was website, but we've got email marketing. And this is just in terms of that term I shared earlier, this is the engagement aspect of your marketing. You want to keep your patients engaged. You want to be a trusted resource for them. And you also want to be top of mind when the need arises and they think, oh, I need to go get an adjustment. Who do I go see? Oh, Dr. Marsh, I know he's going to help me out. Or Dr. Chitral, he's the go-to guy. I've got to go see him, right? So we want to have those top of mind awareness incorporated into our internet marketing. And I'll show you that in just a moment. All right. And then I'll just finish with this. I started to say this earlier, but just to kind of seal the point, my son has this girl that he's dating, he met through the internet. So as it says on the screen, strong relationships exist that are web-based only, right? They met through Instagram. And now they're dating and they're hanging out, and they met in person later, but it started through the internet. So your internet presence must keep up with changing times, the trends, the activities, the interests. Many of those things start through the internet now. And in terms of creating interest and trust and a relationship, an actual relationship, maybe not a physical relationship, like physically talking to somebody face to face, but there's a strong relationship that can be developed through the internet. And you want to nurture that relationship through the avenues I've shown you so that you become the trusted go-to resource for chiropractic care in your community, your city, your state. And we all want to be the trusted chiropractic resource across the world. So that's where we're going with it. Okay. So next week we'll get into reactivation marketing. Let me just pull up the website here. I want to show you the materials and then also well, actually, yeah, let's just jump right into this here. I'm sorry. I want to start here. So when we started our talk today, we talked about the patient demographic questions. So let me just kind of change this here because I want to open this up. So when I did this with my patients, I grabbed my top favorite 10 patients. Some had been coming to see me for years. Some were favorites for other reasons. I met with them. I took them out to lunch, to coffee, to meet, whatever they wanted, but I met with them and I asked them these questions. And from these questions, what was so great, and I'll tell you, all 10 of those patients still come in. And it's been a couple years since I did this, but the reason why I share that with you is because the relationship that I had already developed with them as their doctor grew quite a bit from having this conversation, just showing that I really valued and cared about them as an individual outside of being just a patient. They all still come to see me. We've had a great relationship. We've had ongoing conversations about some of these topics. So it's just a great way to respect and value the favorite people that you have that you take care of. So describe your average workday. What do you do all day, right? What do you do for fun on the average weekend? When do you access the internet or have screen time? How do you use social media? What specific types do you use? Where do you, and then here's the phrase, and your like-minded friends like to dine, right? So what restaurants do you go to? What are your favorite news sources? What are your favorite hobbies? What healthcare desires do you have, right? And how many people on here on this one our patients are probably not going to put down, well, I want to take more prescription drugs, right? Healthcare desires might be in the form of, I need some help with natural healthcare, or, supplements or diet recommendations. But you'd be amazed at what your favorite patients share with you in that category, right? It's just a really great way to get to know them. What are your healthcare frustrations? Now, this can be a great way to get feedback on things that you want to avoid having, right? What if they say, well, my biggest frustration is I can't get in to see my doctor for 4 months. Or I went to my doctor, I called my doctor's office, and I was really having a health problem and they couldn't see me for 4 days. And you might think, well, wait a minute, our practice is taking days to get a new patient in. Well, if we want more of these patients that are our favorites, we should probably make sure that we can see a new patient within 24 hours, right? That might be a clue that you pick up on. We had a question come in I want to just answer. Is there an optimum level of emails to send to a patient per month? So great question. I like a weekly email. I think once a week is perfect. More than that, I think you're going to get more unsubscribes. In fact, I've seen it. So it does cause that. So you don't want to have unsubscribes, but I think once a week is perfect for your new patient followings. I wouldn't recommend less than once every 2 weeks. So if you do like a health newsletter, just a general health newsletter, that would be twice a month. But more likely once a week is the best. So good question there. Okay, so let's jump over to the outline. On the outline, and this is the stuff we just went through in the PowerPoint. So I know you don't have a copy of the PowerPoint. You can print this document right off the website. And these are the areas that we went through. So we have local marketing, right? Your practice must be easily found on the internet. And that's first and foremost. And here's a key: perform an online search for your practice and see what listings exist, right? Type that in, see what pops up. You'd be amazed that one of our members shared with me once that she did just what I am telling you. Her office contact information on the internet was incorrect. It was listed to an old phone number that was no longer connected. And she was wondering, why are patients not getting a hold of me through the website? Well, it was the wrong phone number and it was an error on Google's side. So she wrote to Google and they corrected it, and then she got the right phone number. So just a great way to just check in and see what are patients seeing about your practice. Next was social media. We went through those social media platforms. Here's some of the top ones that you can use to build your presence on those platforms, and you can read through that. The point in this section is to really engage your patients and build trust, right? You want to be established as an expert in your field, support partnerships, other businesses. You can cross market. These are all great ways to build your practice or build your relationships in the community through those social media platforms. And then I'm not going to read through all of this, every one of them, but let's see. Okay. Next was website, right? Your website is the heart of your online marketing efforts, and other online listings and access and accounts should point back to it. So if you're doing a post on Facebook, or you have a LinkedIn ad that you're using, within those platforms, point those back to your website, right? And what's really great about that, and I do want to give a shout out to Pegasus, who does our marketing. I think they're listed on the website. Let me just look over here once again. Now would be a good time to ask questions too. If you have a question, you can just type it in. Happy to open up your line. And here they come. So yes, I will answer those questions in just a second. But on the website, I just want to show you, we have our resources page, right? And in here, we have vendors. So if you click on vendors, you're going to see the companies that I work with. I'm in practice just like you, full-time. And I want to just say I don't get any kickbacks. I'm not a big fan of those types of kickbacks where I'm promoting someone's products that I might be more biased to promote them because I'm getting it for free or I'm getting some financial incentive. I don't get any kickbacks from any of these companies. These are all companies that I just use in my own practice, and you are free to contact them, but I do highly recommend them. This one in particular, Pegasus Websites. I was just on the phone yesterday talking about our updated website with Franklin, who's our account manager, and he gave me some great tips and pointers from the stuff that they upgraded and developed, and it was around those keyword searches. I should point out, I don't think there's a day that goes by that we don't get a phone call from someone that found us on the internet and wants to come in as a new patient. I mean, it's literally every day that we have new patients coming in that found us on the internet and want to come in. So it's that big of a potential with your internet marketing. And so having a good company that hosts your website and knows SEO and knows AdWords or keywords and how to tie those in is critically important these days. And Pegasus is excellent at that. They do a great job, and we get new patients every day from it. So, okay, so there was another question. What Google service do you use? Is it Google Ads? And how much do you pay per month? Is it based on the number of clicks? So great question. So yes, I use Google Ads. I don't do Facebook ads anymore. I actually I've got a little bit turned off with Zuckerberg. I actually was visiting, this is a little side story, but I was visiting in Hawaii with my wife. We were on vacation and we drove by Zuckerberg's new house, if you want to call it that. It goes on for about 5 miles of driving down the highway. So his compound or whatever. And just seeing the magnitude of I think he's going to take over the whole island. And then at the same time, watching how Facebook was censoring so much information through COVID and the pandemic. And I kind of got turned off just in terms of his whole approach with taking over so much and censoring that. So anyways, little sidebar. So I have my own little personal opinion about Facebook, and I really have never gotten into being on Facebook very much. If you are on Facebook, power to you. I support you. If you want to pay for Facebook ads, great. They're a great source of bringing in new patients and directing traffic to your presence on the internet. But my point in sharing that story with you is to say, even on the Facebook ads, where should they direct people to? Your website. That's the hub of what's going on the internet. I see lots of good questions coming in. So yes, I do use Google Ads. I pay, so it's going to depend on your area. So the question was, how much do you pay per month? It depends on the competition, right? If you're in a populated area where there's a lot of people paying for Google Ads to be at the top of the search engine, then you're going to pay more. So it kind of depends. I can tell you that I pay about $300 a month for our Google Ads or keywords, I guess. And historically, because back when I had a phone book ad, I was paying more than $2,000 a month to have my physical phone book ad in the phone book. And that was mixed in with a bunch of other offices. So $300 is what I spend now, roughly. And that's based on the competition in my area. So you really want to get a hold of Google and have them test your area and see what it's going to take to drive you to the top, at least in the top page. It's going to vary from practice to practice. So I can't tell you how much to spend exactly, but the last part of that question was about the clicks. I do not pay for clicks. And actually that's going away. Actually, and it's in this book. If you read this book, which I shared with you, there's a section in here on YouTube, because Google owns YouTube. And when Google was looking at buying YouTube, or I'm sorry, buying YouTube, YouTube was basing their algorithm on the number of clicks. So how many times did somebody click on a certain video? And this is actually a fun little story. And I know I'm going off topic, but it'll come in for a landing to my point. But that's how it was set up, was that how many people clicked on a video was what determined whether that video was going to be at the top of the search engines. Well, Google came in, bought YouTube for, I think it was $1.5 billion. So not a small price tag back in, I think it was like 06 or 07. But they bought YouTube and they immediately changed it. They took away the clicks and they changed it to watch time. So video watch time is what drives the algorithms in YouTube. So how long do people watch a video? Not whether they clicked on it, but how long do they watch it? Do they watch the whole thing? Do they just watch part of it? What's the watch time? So where am I going with that? The number of clicks is phased out, because what they found was that companies were putting bots on the internet that would just go out and click on stuff. These are internet-based robots, and they just click on stuff to boost the number of clicks. So that's now outdated. Another reason to keep your website up to date. How does Pegasus compare to Inception? I used Inception for a long time, and they're a great company, so I don't want to take away from their work. I prefer Pegasus because Pegasus has the AdWords dialed. I did not have as many new patients calling in that found us on the internet with Inception as I do with Pegasus. And Pegasus, we've been using them for about 4 or 5 years. So yeah, Inception wasn't as good for us. And okay, and then what's a good budget to have around Google Ads? So that's a great question. Um, I pay about $300 a month for our Google Ads. I also pay the company, and I don't mind sharing this with you. I don't know what their prices are for anyone else, but I pay full price, and my price is I think it's about $500 a month for them to host our website with all the keywords. So I'm paying about $800 a month to have that great internet presence. By comparison, just a few years ago, I was paying over $2,000 a month to have a physical phone book ad. So, I mean, you have to gauge it. As far as a range, that's a good range right there. Because if you're in a real competitive area where there's a lot of people, like a dense city, maybe the Bay Area is more, I'm not sure. But if you're in an area where a lot of people are competing to have that first page um, of links show up on a Google search or a Chrome search, or I'm sorry, I would say a Bing search. If they're paying a lot to have that, your competition is going to be higher and you'll pay more for that. But it's good to just get a test on in terms of what's out there and what it's going to take for you to be at the top. I think it's good to aim for that first page because, as I said, you're going to have a lot of new patients that come in from that. Okay, I know I'm talking quick, but want to just give a shout out. So one more thing we need to cover today, and that's relating to the upcoming seminar, is the DC and CA awards for 2023. What do I mean by that? I'm going to jump back over to the website. I want to really encourage you to make sure that your numbers in here are up to date. This is a really awesome feature that we built into DC trainings. And what it allows you to do is to put in specific measurable, we call them focuses in your practice that will basically give you a scorecard of how well your practice is performing when compared to the goals that you've created. Okay. So this is called the calendar. This is sort of the hub. This means this is where you go in and you put in your numbers. I'll just pull up this here today. So there's no numbers in here because we don't see patients on Thursdays, but it has a list of the goals and then the actual numbers. And once those are put in there, then it goes to our success rate reports, which I want to just say, I'm happy to share this with you. These are my success rates. I never share yours. Yours are all confidential. Nobody finds out your information. Our database is very well protected, but these are the success rates. So it's showing me exactly what my goals were for each month of the year and how our actuals are filling in towards those goals. So we're in the 95th percentile right now for our goals for the year when it comes to new patients. So to have a system like this changes how you interact with your team in a big way. I want to really stress this because I'm going to jump out of here and go back to training. We're going to go into module 6, which we're in now. We're going to talk about team accountability. And in this material right here, the team accountability outline and script, week 2 of module 6, it shows how to manage your team in an objective way, in a way that supports growth, that supports independent thinking, that supports risk-taking within reason, right? And allows your team to have control and ownership over their specific area within your practice. Now, once they do that, we measure it in a variety of ways. It's new patients, patient visits, conversion rates, and there's 2 of those, or revenue. There's actually 5 focuses within the system. When you have someone in your team that produces a result, let's say it's new patients, and I showed you mine, it's 95%. So at success rates at or above 100%, here's the steps I'm going to take to manage my team. For success rates below 100%, this is how I'm going to manage my team, right? So it lays out carefully how you can be an effective team leader and how you can manage your team based on their individual contributions to your practice and those statistics. So where am I going with all that? On January 13th, we're going to be announcing our DC and CA of the Year winners for 2023. So make sure your numbers are in there, because I'm watching, and I'm not getting specific into your numbers. I just want to know your success rates, right? The criteria is right on the website. When we look at the criteria under resources, it tells you right here what you need to do to win the CA of the Year award. Oops, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. Got to share my screen. There we go. Okay, so it shows you right on the website what to do to win the CA of the Year. And here's our past winners. And down here, it shows you what to do to win the DC of the Year award, which is right here. So look at those criteria. Now, we haven't had, well, yeah, it says attend 4 seminars a year. We only have 2 live seminars now. So in terms of attending a seminar, you basically, half of that's in the bag for you already, because we didn't have all 6 live seminars. But those are the criteria. Those are our past winners. And I encourage you to participate in that. You very simply go to My Practice, click on the calendar, put in your information. It'll spit out your success rates for you, and away you go. I'm sorry, we are right up against the hour. I don't want to keep you too long. I don't see any other hands up. So I'm going to jump off and say happy holidays, happy new year to all of you. Of course, we're jumping into a brand new year, and it's my pleasure to kickstart that with you with DC trainings, to keep your practice at the forefront of healthcare, right? In my opinion, I'm biased, I know, but there's no better healthcare in the world than chiropractic. So we want to be at the forefront of that and carry our torch and our message out to as many people as possible. So thank you for being a part of DC trainings. Thank you for joining me on that mission. It's a pleasure to work with you and help in any way I can. Happy New Year, happy holidays, and I will talk to you soon.
If you would like to become a member of DC Trainings, be sure to head on over to dctrainings.com to get started today.